Hello guys and gals, and welcome back to yet another one of my videos. Today we're going to cover some lore about the Empire, one of the 4 playable factions in the upcoming Warhammer Total War. There is another playable race, namely Chaos, but this is kept back as a pre-order bonus, also available as Day 1 DLC. So, what is the Empire? Like much of the Warhammer setting, the Empire resembles a period of European history, but with the addition of fantasy elements such as magic and non-human races. Both visually and geographically, it is based on Europe during a mixture of the Dark Ages, Middle Ages and early modern periods. There are wealthy city-states that bear similarity to Hanseatic League cities, such as Hamburg, and place and character names are Germanic in tone. For example, the capital of the Empire is the city of Altdorf, which translates as Old Village and is the name of several real-world places. The Empire is the largest and most powerful of all the nations of the Old World. The Empire is bordered by the nations of Kislev to the northeast and the Sea of Claws, the World's Edge Mountains to the east and the Great Ocean, Black Mountains, Grey Mountains, the land of Bretonnia to the west and the Border Princes to the south. To the east, the Empire is threatened by the Orcs and Goblins. A large part of the Empire is heavily forested and a large number of beastmen can be found living in the deepest forest there. So, how does the political structure of the Empire look like? The Empire is a confederation of 10 large provinces. Averland, Hochland, Middenland, Norrland, Ostland, Ostermark, Reikland, Stirland, Talbekland, Wissenland. Each of them is ruled by an elector count. There were originally 2 more provinces, Drakvald. These lands are now under the jurisdiction of elector counts of Middenland, and Solland, lands now under the elector counts of Wissenland. Another Westerland was originally the areas around Marienburg. The province and their counts are derived from 12 chieftains that followed Sigmar, who would become the first emperor, and in time worshipped as the patron deity of the Empire. The naming of some provinces of the Empire are also derived from the river that flows through them, like the river Reik flows through the Reikland, the Talabek through Talabekland, and Talabhain, and so forth and so forth. Also, some of the major cities of the Empire became more important, and as such are classed as city-states, namely Altdorf in Reikland, Nuln on the borders of Wissenland, Averland and Stirland, Talabheim in Talabekland, Middenheim in Middenland. Sudenburg is an imperial enclave in Araby, or you could also call it a colony. The Empire is nominally ruled by the Emperor, who is chosen by majority voting of the various electors. The electors are the 10 elector counts, the Grand Theogonist of the Sigmarite Church, the 2 archlectors who are also clerics of the Sigmarite Church, the High Priest of Ulrich, and the Elder of the Moot, representing the halflings. Yes, there are halflings here. Karl Franz of the Holzwig-Schliesten family is the current emperor during the first edition and most of the written adventures. The emperor is usually also one of the elector counts. Karl Franz is the elector count of Reikland. We briefly touched upon it earlier, and now we're going to go a little bit more in depth about the religion of the Empire. The religion of the Empire is polytheistic, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, with the god Sigmar being the most important. Sigmar was a mortal man who was elevated to equal status with the other gods of the Old World pantheon after his disappearance following the establishment of the Empire. The Grand Theogonist is the leader of the Church of Sigmar and is considered to be the equal of our world's Pope. Sigmar's worship is strongest in Altdorf, but runs throughout the Empire. Some regions, however, have a stronger link to other older gods known as the Old Faith, such as the Middenheimers who revere Ulrich before all others, and Talabekland who revere the god Thal. Other gods commonly worshipped in the Empire are Manan along coastal regions and rivers, and Mor by the grieving or those facing death. These gods of the Old Faith are still worshipped throughout, though Sigmar is considered the patron deity of the Empire. So, how does the military of the Empire look like? The armies of the Empire are amongst the most diverse in the Old World. Older forms of troops like spearmen, swordsmen and halberdiers, crossbowmen and archers, especially the personal bodyguard of the elector counts, the great swords, who fight alongside more modern troops like cannon, handgunners and pistoliers. The inventiveness of the Empire has produced war machines, such as a steam-powered tank, rocket batteries and volley guns. In the last edition, such steampunk elements as mechanical horses are also present. The Empire is also noted for having excellent cavalry in the form of its Order Knights. The Empire also often fields state-trained battle wizards and religious fanatics known as flagellants. The armies can be led by imperial generals, grandmasters of the various knightly orders, captains chosen by the counts, warrior priests and arch-lectors of Sigmar, or even the mighty imperial warlord Emperor Karl Franz himself. The historical example for this army is the early modern German army, especially that of a Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian I and the Landsknechts. So, what kind of friends does the Empire have? For one, they have the dwarves. These are the Empire's closest ally and have been from its very founding. This alliance provided not only military support, but also technological and commercial trading. A large contingent of dwarves has settled in the Empire and owe their allegiance to the Emperor rather than their ancestral homelands. Bretonnia is an oft-rival of the Empire in both trade and war, but in the most dire situations Bretonnia has supported the Empire with a few troops, notably in the recent Storm of Chaos. The wintry kingdom of Kislev to the north and east has been on good terms with the Empire ever since the Great War against Chaos, and the then Tsar declared Magnus the eternal friend of the people, and their forces have fought together against common enemies many times since. Ties with the High Elves are strong and growing. The Wood Elves have also been one of the Empire's allies in times of turmoil, fighting against the Beastmen inside the Forest of Shadows, and killing Morgur, Master of Skulls, when he was reborn in that place. The Empire maintains a cool relationship with its former province of Marienburg, as I mentioned earlier, the city of merchants. Trade and travel are maintained with the countries of Tilea, inspired by Italy, and Estalia, inspired by Spain. Great caravans traverse the mountains and continents to bring sought-after goods and treasures from Ind, inspired by India, lo and behold, and Grand Cathay, inspired by China in the east. Although Imperials know little of the east, it appears that they are unwitting allies against chaos. In the desert lands of Araby, a combined land of Arab countries, the imperial colony of Sudenburg has been established along its coast. Arabian trade is also heavy, and extravagant tales are told of the fabulous and wondrous realms of the Sultans. So, a little bit about the history of the Empire, one of the couple of notable occasions. There is the Battle of the Blackfire Pass, and I'm not referring to the one you see in the Let's Play video made by Creative Assembly, but the first Battle of Blackfire Pass. This was the culmination of Sigmar's campaigns to cleanse the land of the Empire of Orcs and Goblins. This battle saw the power of the green-skinned races broken in the lands of men and drove them into the Badlands, their current domain. Taking place in the year IC-1, this is year 0 being the year Sigmar's coronation as the first emperor. This battle is looked upon as Sigmar's greatest victory, and the site is now a site of pilgrimage for members of the Sigmarite faith. Blackfire Pass lies in the south of Averland, where the Black Mountains part and the Old Dwarf Road moves out into the Border Prince's realm and towards Karas Akarak, the greatest of the dwarf holds and the seat of their high kings. Along with the Axebite Pass in the west, which leads into Bretonnia, High Pass to the far northeast and Peak Pass to the east, Blackfire Pass is one of the few routes through the mountains. Then we have Magnus the Pious, perhaps the greatest emperor after Sigmar. Saved the old world in the Great War against Chaos. Magnus von Bildhofen was a noble of the empire born over 2,300 years after the ascension of Sigmar. The empire had long been marred by civil war and was bereft of a single leader. In the imperial year 2302, the largest chaos incursion since ancient times erupted, threatening to conquer the old world. Led by the warlord Asavar Kul, the Chaos Horde swept over Kislev, taking Prague and sacking Erengrad in swift succession. After defeating a large chaos uprising in his home city of Nuln, Magnus traveled across the empire, delivering great speeches, condemning the invaders and restating the empire's duty to oppose the evil surging over the north. Magnus assembled the largest army in imperial history, splitting it between infantry and cavalry. Flagellants marched next to the mercenaries and state troops of all the elector counts. Hedge wizard trained by the elven high mage Teclis advanced alongside ordinary citizens who hated chaos. This force marched north to Kislev to meet the Chaos Legions, which were opposed only by the remnants of the Kislevitz armies and a small dwarven force. Their arrival was aided by the High King Alricsson of the Dwarves. At the Battle of Four Gates, Magnus and his allies vanquished Kull and his horde. After the Great War, Magnus the Pious, as he posthumously became known, was elected emperor and re-established imperial government, moving the imperial capital from Altdorf to Nuln. Yes, the imperial capital moves based on which one is the emperor. One of his first acts after the war was to co-found the Colleges of Magic. Throughout the imperial history, the practice of sorcery was punishable by death. Under Magnus' approval and Teclis' guidance, a new weapon was added to mankind's arsenal, the Imperial Battle Wizards. Magnus also granted the artillery and gunnery school the Imperial Charter for their contribution to the war. So, that was all for today, guys. Next week we'll do a similar bit on the greenskins, aka orcs. We'll try to get through at least the 4 races before the game releases. If we have time, I'll also go a bit more in depth about each race or cover some of the more obscure ones. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe for more content like this. I am John Flint, thank you for watching.